Everyone. So what we're going to study today is about atoms and molecules. We are going to study about simple numerical problems from this chapter, right? Okay, before that, let us do a quick revision that will help us to solve the questions. First is law of chemical combination, right? That includes law of conservation of mass, law of constant proportion. What is law of conservation of mass? It states that mass can neither be created and nor be destroyed, right? So for example, if you take A plus B and you form C plus D. So if you're taking, let's say 5 grams of A and 10 grams of B, then the total basically the reactants is 15 gram, then the product should also be 15 grams because we know that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, and every reaction it should be in line with the law of conservation of mass, right? So you can check here. So we have 5.3 grams of sodium carbonate reacting with 6 grams of acetic acid, right? So that is how much? That is 11.3 grams of the reactants, okay? And we have 8.2 grams of, sodium acetate, 2.2 grams of carbon dioxide, and 0.9 grams of H2O, right? So you can then, add it up and it would also come up to be 11.3 grams. So basically reactant and the products, the mass is same, okay? Next is law of constant proportion. What does it mean? That, elements, they always combine in fixed proportion, like water molecule, right? Here, always they will combine, like there will be always 2 hydrogen and 1 molecule of water, right? Right. So this is always there. So for example, carbon dioxide, right? So there will always be 1 carbon with 2 oxygen. So CO4 is not carbon dioxide, right? Okay. So elements always combine in a fixed ratio. Okay, so what is Dalton's atomic theory? Let us quickly go through it. He said that all matters are made up of indivisible atoms, right? Atoms of the same elements are identical. Atoms combine in whole number ratio. Atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. And the atoms are the basis for chemical reactions explanation, right? Okay, next is atomic mass and molecules. Okay, so what is atomic mass? Atomic mass is the mass, of an atom, of one atom, that is equal to 1 by 12th mass of a carbon 12 isotope, right? 1 by 12th mass of a carbon 12 isotope, that is the mass of one atom, right? Like hydrogen is equal to 1 grams, right? That is the mass of one atom of hydrogen, right? Okay. Similarly, oxygen is equal to 16 grams, right? Okay. So molecules is when 2 or more atoms are chemically bonded, like H2 is a molecule, N2 is a molecule, carbon dioxide is a molecule, right? Okay. Now let us learn how to write the chemical formula. So let us understand this type of numericals. For example, I have hydrogen and chlorine. So what is the valency of hydrogen? It is +1, right? What is the valency of chlorine? It is -1. Simply, we just do a cross multiplication. So the answer is HCl, right? Now let us consider magnesium and chlorine. So the valency of magnesium is +2. What does it mean +2? Basically, it needs to lose 2 electrons to become stable. Chlorine needs to gain 1 electron to become stable, right? So if you cross multiply, it becomes MgCl2. Now, if I say, let us write the formula for aluminum oxide. How are we going to write it? Aluminium, which is in group 13, it needs to lose 3 electrons to become stable. So valency becomes +3, right? Okay, oxygen is -2. See, there are 3 things. One is valence shell. What is the meaning of valence shell? That is the meaning of outermost shell. What is the meaning of valence shell electrons? It means that the total electrons in the outermost shell. And there is one thing that is known as valency. Valency is the combining capacity, that how many electrons does it need to gain or lose, to attain stability. For example, oxygen. So if I would consider oxygen, it has, 6 valence electrons, but its valency does not become 6. What is its valency? It is 2 because it needs to gain 2 electrons to become stable. Now, gaining of electrons is like the charge would be negative. If you want to learn about all these things in detail, again, like we can connect to Urban Pro. Okay. So see, aluminium has a charge of +3, oxygen has a charge of -2. Simply, we are going to do a cross multiplication. And during cross multiplication, you don't see the sign. You just write it as Al2O3. Now, can you all try Al, aluminium and chlorine formula? Chlorine, the valency is -1. Aluminium, it is +3. Yes, you're right. It is AlCl3. Because the charge in aluminium, okay, let us understand why. See, the charge in aluminium is +3. Now, to balance it, you need how many chlorine atoms? You need 3 because charge on 1 chlorine atom is -3. And we know that any compound is neutral. So, if you want to make this a neutral compound, the charge of aluminium is +3, chlorine is -1. I want to make it neutral. So, how many chlorine atoms would I need to, overcome this +3 charge, I would need 3, right? So the formula becomes AlCl3, right? So this is how we write the chemical formula. Next is molecular mass. So questions are asked, how to calculate the molecular mass. What is molecular mass? It is sum total of all the atomic masses. For example, H2O is given to us. We know that there are two molecules of hydrogen. Mass of one hydrogen is 1. One atomic mass unit that is represented by U, or if you can also represent it in grams. Then we have oxygen. So oxygen, one molecule has 16 grams or 16 atomic mass units. So total it becomes 18 U or 18 atomic mass units, right? So suppose if I want to find for NaCl, so how will I find it? So NaCl, the mass is 23 and chlorine is 35.5. So what does it become? 58.5. Now what you all can try, H2SO4, right? I'll tell you the mass of hydrogen is 1 gram. So you do 1 into 2. Mass of sulfur is 32. And here we have O4. So one oxygen is 16. So 4. Can you calculate and tell me? Yes. Can you all calculate this? Similarly, you can take any compound, like you can take magnesium chloride, you can take magnesium oxide, right? Yes. So you can take HCl, right? You can take MgSO4, you can take NaOH, right? But you need to remember the masses, okay? You have to remember the masses, especially till atomic number 20. Just remember the mass in the atomic number. So here the answer should be 98U. Please cross-check it for yourself. Let us move forward. Next is formula mass unit. So basically, formula mass unit or the atomic mass unit, it is the same thing. For ionic compounds, we call it formula mass. That's the thing. Okay, so basically in ionic compounds like NaCl or CaCl2, basically they have ionic bonding. Calcium has a charge of +2 and one chlorine has a charge of -1. Hence the formula, are you able to correlate? Hence the formula is calcium chloride, right? CaCl2. So simply you just put the, the atomic masses. Calcium is 40 and chlorine is 35.5 into 2 because there are two atoms of chlorine. So it becomes 111U. So this is how we find the formula mass unit. So it is the same. It is just the word has changed because it is ionic compound. These are a few numerical problems. Calculate the molecular mass of HNO3. Okay, how to find out? So what is the mass of hydrogen? It is 1. What is the mass of nitrogen? It is 14. What is the mass of oxygen? It is 60. There are 3 atoms. So I do 16 into 3, which is 48. So the mass of HNO3 becomes 63U. Now, what is the percentage composition of H2O? Find the percentage composition of hydrogen. So, like how we find out percentage in school? Like I got 10 marks out of 20. So I do it into 100. Now this is 50%, right? So I just cancel this. 10 by 2 is like, I just cancel this. So this becomes 50, right? 50%. Similarly, what is the percentage of hydrogen in water molecule? So we know that the mass of water molecule is 18 and the mass of water here, there are two atoms. One atom is 1 atomic mass unit. So we have 2 by 18 into 100, right? Which comes up to be 11.11%. So there are questions asked about the percentage composition. Then, okay, there are questions asked about the number of moles. How do we calculate number of moles? Very easy. Number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass, okay? Basically, it is mole is like a fixed quantity, like dozen, 1 dozen. So if I say that, I have 6 bananas, that is how many dozen? So you will do 6 by 12, you will say that is 0.5 dozens, right? Similarly, if I have 11 grams of carbon dioxide, that is how many moles? Firstly, I need to find out the molar mass, right? Because the number of moles is mass by the molar mass. What is molar mass? It is the mass of all the atoms added together. So carbon dioxide is 12 plus 16 into 2. So that is 44 grams or 44U, anything you can write. So the number of moles is 11 by 44, that is 0.25 moles. So this is how they ask us to find out the number of moles of many different compounds. For you, I have a question. Find out the number of moles for 58.5 grams of NaCl, okay? Do it and you can comment the answer. Next. Formula unit mass of sodium carbonate. Again, formula unit mass means nothing but the molar mass only, or the, the combined mass. Formula unit. Why are they using the term formula unit? Because again, this is a ionic compound. Simply you take their, atomic masses and you add them. Like 2 into 23 plus 12 plus 13 into 3 into 16, which is 106U, right? So this type of questions are also asked in the exam. So now we have come to the end of this class. So can you find out what is the mass of 1 mole of oxygen, right? What is the mass of 1 mole of oxygen? Can you find out the atomicity of phosphorus? What is atomicity? Atomicity means like for oxygen, it is 2. So in atmosphere, it is always O2. Atomicity means the same, for example, I have phosphorus. So the same element together, how many atoms of it is attached together? That is called the atomicity, right? So it is actually 4, right? P4, right? So basically 4 phosphorus atoms are attached together. So we call it P4, right? Okay. So if you want to study about atomicity in detail, again, we can connect through Urban Pro and we can take one-on-one classes, right? What is the formula of aluminium oxide? It is Al2O3, right? That is the formula of aluminium oxide. Okay. So, and I have taught you how. So, aluminium, the valency is what? Yes, +3. What about oxygen? Yes, -2. So, what does it become? Al2O3. Now, this you need to do yourself. What is the percentage of oxygen in H2? We did the percentage of hydrogen. You will do the percentage of oxygen. Now, the hint is, what is the mass of oxygen? 16. You do 16 by 18 into 100, right? And tell me the answer in the comments. Okay. So these are the answers. Basically, you can check your answers, right? Again, thank you so much. Thank you for paying attention. And again, if you want to study more in detail, we can connect through Urban Pro, right? We can solve doubts, solve more questions. Okay. So thank you so much for paying attention. Take care.